Welcome back to drawing my Persona project eras as various nostalgic media from my childhood. In the previous episode, we drew my eras as Tamagotchis. Please check it out if you haven't already. We designed both the little Tamagotchis and the shells. It was so much fun. And today we'll be designing Kirby characters for the eras, spanning across every one of my brother and I's favorite Kirby games. Let's get started. Wild Child, Wild Child. Oh my goodness, one of my favorite Kirby games growing up was Kirby's Epic Yarn for the Wii. It was one that me and my brother spent hours on, and my brother was always Kirby and I was always the little prince character with the gigantic eyebrows. It is just such a soft and sweet game. I adore the art style and the music. Oh my god, the music still to this day is something I will put on to fall asleep to if I'm extra stressed out. It is just the most relaxing, most gentle, whimsical thing ever. I love Kirby's Epic Yarn so much, so that is why I decided to start with that game first for Wild Child, because I know that game was just burned into our TV screen. Like, we would literally fall asleep with Kirby in like Kirby's little pad, which you could like decorate a little apartment for them, by the way. It was so adorable, and you could collect little patches and things. Oh, so cute. But we would literally leave the TV on at night, my brother and I, with Kirby falling asleep on their little bed in their little apartment, and we would pretend to have a sleepover with Kirby. Like, I have only the most wholesome memories to share about this game. I freaking adore it, y'all. But then came the challenge of having to mimic that art style. And let me tell you, I am not a 3D artist. I've got the 2D brain. This entire video is just going to be a really big challenge considering most of Kirby is kind of three-dimensional. I will be using some promotional art and we'll be jumping across various art styles just to have some fun and spice it up a little bit. But for this one, I really wanted this to look like yarn, like a patch. And I was like, all right, we're going all in. We're just gonna make it look as good as I possibly can and look to my references and pray to God, I don't know. So I wanted to use one of the little plant-like creatures of Kirby because those are like literally some of my favorites. Like the leaf hat is very underrated, I think, in my opinion. Like, I like all of the underrated Kirby abilities. Like, sure, yes, ice and fire are so great, but like the water hat is right there, the yo-yo is right there, the spike, I personally like the spike too, the whip, oh my god, I love all of like the really obscure little things, even like the chef's hat where you get to cook and everything. Oh my god, no, like I think the leaf hat is great, and like the little leaf enemies are freaking precious. Like, look at them, they're adorable. Not to mention, some of the little leaf guys are actually bombs, and I think that resonates with Wild Child pretty well, if I do say so myself. So I wanted to combine some of these enemies and kind of make my very own with these. I'm trying to kind of either pick one enemy that I think fits best or make my own. So this is like a combination of like a bunch of the different plant ones I'm gonna make for Wild Child and kind of make it a little more tadpole-like, obviously, as well. So I had the little helicopter leaves on top because I had a tree in my yard that had helicopter leaves growing up, and of course the little tadpole tail, but I just wanted to simplify it, really simplify it, because this is literally a single piece of yarn, so I made it a little swirl, which still works because, you know, all of my eras have my iconic little hair doinker swirl thing. And for her cheeks, I was like, maybe that's just like some felt, right? Like maybe some fabric that is like attached to the string or the back part of the patch. There is going to be like a little canvas part of the patch on the back. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's go for it. So I tried to make those like way too detailed, and honestly, I'm kind of shocked with how well that turned out. Honestly, I think I did too good on Wild Childs because then I set the bar really high, forgot about this for weeks, and I was like, I can never do this again. I just did too good of a job. I think I got the eyes perfect. I just really nailed all the little details. I actually ended up stealing a hair texture brush for the yarn, and it worked so freaking well. Oh my god, I was like so impressed with how good that turned out. I was like, this is perfect. Like, literally, again, I think I just absolutely nailed this from the get-go, and then I was super intimidated for the rest of this video. You'll see, you'll see. This is Patchwork Wild Child, inspired by Kirby's Epic Yarn. Look at how freaking precious, y'all. I can't. It's a little seed bomb, it's a little helicopter leaf, a tadpole. It's everything I love about nature that makes up Wild Child's entire childhood. I think this could not possibly get better. I am super proud of this one, and none of the rest. My preteen Blackbird was going to be a challenge from the start because oh goodness, there sure is not a great variety of bird characters in Kirby that aren't owls, and owls are kind of triggering to me, and I don't want to draw them, and so I was like, well, darn, there's like 2 other birds outside of the many owls in this game that I could choose from, and it was either one of like the big bosses, and I was like, okay, this is kind of extra. Like Blackbird internally, yes, Blackbird internally is one of the big end bosses of like a Kirby game, sure, but let's be honest, she's like 13, like she needs to calm down. I wanted to pick something from the DS era because Blackbird was glued to her DS, let me tell you, oh my god. And I played Kirby Superstar Ultra a lot with my brother. It was one of those awesome DS games where you could connect and play together, and we did the entire story mode together, and it was so much fun, and we'd play it all the time. It was basically like Smash Bros, but with Kirby. It was freaking awesome. You could like be any of the little guys, like any of them. It was awesome, dude. There is a bird character with a little aviator hat, and I was like, oh my god, how freaking cute is that? I think that's perfect. So I went for that for Blackbird. I didn't decide to combine any of the creatures together for her because, oh, I tried that many a time, and it just wasn't turning out good, so I was like, you know what, let's keep it simple for BB. Luckily, the bird has an emo fringe, so I got to keep Blackbird's little puff of hair pretty much exactly how I draw it. Boom, it was just on this design already, and I was like, wow, this is turning out great. I freaking love aviator hats. I will never shut up about them. I'm pretty sure I said this in my Animal Jam video as well. I love the aviator hats. They're such an underrated accessory. They're like my favorite things ever. You get the hat, you get the goggles. It's so cute. This is so perfect for Blackbird. Like, if I had a chance to redesign Blackbird, I would take away the mask and give her an aviator hat so she could cover her eyes with goggles. Like, I'm telling you, this accessory was made for her. The thing is with this, and why I am so unconfident with this video, is the fact that like everything is 3D, and I'm like really not good at making 3D art. Let me tell you, I opened up Blender for the first time and it was a freaking nightmare. I couldn't even figure out how to export. I made a ball float into the air and I was like, oh heck yeah, I'm so smart, and then I couldn't even export it. I can't even show you what I made because I'm so bad at it, dude. My brain is just not there. I've got 2D brain so bad. I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna match the promotional art that I'm referencing because, oh my god, I'm not gonna try to put myself through this right now. But let it be known, I did open Blender and try to attempt that just for this video. Let it be known that Blender did in fact best me. Like it does pretty much every artist that opens it. Unless they're a freaking god and can just bend it to their will. Which, like, congratulations if you can do that. Holy cow. I realized with the shading and lighting, it was gonna be such a weird thing because there were so many freaking highlights. I was like, what is going on? Like, why is everything lit up this way? Like, when you really look at it, it's like, huh. I don't know why it looks like that, but sure, I'll just copy it, I guess. Blackbird's color scheme worked so well for this, thank God, because I was losing all hope at this point. But you know what? I think it still turned out pretty good, despite all of the funky, weird shading and lighting stuff that came with that promotional art. I am still very confused, and I don't even know if I really nailed that. But you know what? I gave it a shot, I gave it a try. Blackbird from Kirby Superstar Ultra to honor my childhood spent on my DS, glued to the screen, playing these games. I think it turned out pretty alright. I'm definitely think by the end of the video, I really understood the art style a lot more. And poor Blackbird was just kind of the experiment. But hey, isn't that what your preteen phase is for? For my teen era Parker, there was some pretty obvious choices I could have made. There is literally just a fire guy, and that would have been nice and all, but I could not deny the fact that there were some really cool ninjas too. Parker was a big Naruto fan, so I was like, alright, just this once, I will not use the fire motif for Parker, and we will lean more into the weeb side of things. And I decided to use the art style from Kirby Star Allies, which I think was a very good game despite all of the kind of hate it got for being such a short game. I don't think short games are bad. Hot take. If it's a good game and it's engaging for like the 30 hours that you play it rather than like 60 or 100, like, dude, when I open up a Kirby game, I'm not expecting a Breath of the Wild length save file. I'm expecting a Kirby length save file. And most Kirby games are like an average like 30 hours in my opinion. Like, I don't know why people gave Star Allies so much crap. It makes me so upset because it's actually such a sweet and cute game and it's very replayable, and I thought it was so fun to play with other people because of vast amount of choices. You could be literally so many of the fan favorite characters. It was just the most fan service thing ever, and like we're big Kirby fans, so me and my brother love this game. And the art style was really neat, and I really like the weird like shading polka dot thing they got going on. So I was gonna try and mimic that, and that was a challenge. But first, I decided, the color palette's gonna be really interesting for this little guy, considering it's all originally purples, and we're gonna have to go more into like red. So I decided to keep the feet and the hands red, and then for like the ninja mask, I used Parker's scarf, because I thought that would fit really well. And then I wanted to go a little bit on the greens. Instead of having white eyes, I gave Parker green eyes, because I have green eyes, and then I made the headband green. I kind of tied those three colors together with the greens, the reds, and the browns, and I think that's a really underrated palette. I think it's really cute. I gave him one little ninja sword on his back, and I decided instead for the pose to give him fire, because obviously Parker's a firebender. I didn't want to take away all of the fire from this piece, because then it's just like, just missing Parker's little pizzazz. Like, that's like Parker's thing, you know? For the little ponytail on top, I thought that was perfect, because then I could make the hair really curly and poofy, because I used to wear only exclusively ponytails during that era. It just really worked out super well, despite everything. See, this is what happens when you draw outside of the lines and you stray from the normal path. Instead of being a fire boy, I was like, wow, the ninja actually turned out being way better than I expected. This is so beautiful and glorious. Then came the shading and lighting, because again, I just have to emphasize what is going on with the shading and lighting and all of the Kirby promotional art. I don't know what those artists are on, but I'm confused thoroughly. Every time I look at it, I'm like, okay, I know that's not how that works, but I have to ignore that part of my brain and just do what the reference says, and it was killing me. But it started coming together, and I was like, okay, this is great, this is fine. And then I spent a great deal of time just struggling trying to get that weird dot pattern thing to work. I really did not understand what colors they used or how the pattern even worked, because if I tried using a very linear pattern and it just looked wrong. So I'm like, did they just splash random dots everywhere? Like what happened here? Like, my brain was just not wrapping around this at all. As you can tell throughout this entire video, I think my brain just went out for lunch and I sat at a blank canvas, and I don't know who drew this. Because I literally could not understand any of the 3D aspects or any of the shading or lighting or like anything. I could draw the basic shapes, and then I like frog blinked like, alright, I don't know what to do now. But I still tried. In the end, I think I partially succeeded. I don't know, man. I don't understand their polka dots. I'm sorry, Star Allies. Your game is freaking amazing. You don't deserve any of the hate. Parker turned out so freaking cool in this art style. The lighting actually turned out pretty good, all things considered, even though it was confusing as heck. And I think this was just a really perfect fit for him, and I think he'd be very happy with this choice. Holly era was interesting. I really had to think about what Kirby games I was interested in during that time. Honestly, I think that's when I played Star Allies, but I wanted to use that art style for Parker. But then I remembered they came up with this really cool, like, 20-year anniversary game. It was like a collection of, like, little blips of each game kind of thing. It was like a really interesting thing. And on there, I remember being so freaking attached to like all of the old games and all of the old sprites and things. And so I really wanted to reference something from like the 64 era, because oh my god, I was such a Nintendo 64 kid, and I feel like Holly would be really nostalgic for it. And plus, I think it's safe to say there's plenty of cats to choose from across all of the Kirby games, but the absolute best one is honestly perfect for Holly. It is that little floating pink cat that looks all cutesy, la la la, and then if you turn around or you hit it, it just turns into this evil, one-eyed, red, glaring cat that like snaps at you like a turtle. It's crazy, bro. And I was like, that's so Holly era. Like, she's so cutie and fine and adorable and fun until provoked. And then it's like, okay, all right, claws are out. Like, I was like, this is perfect for her. But also, I can't deny, the magic hat, the beam ability is my absolute favorite ability, guys. I love the magic ability in Kirby. It is so fun. I love the little guys, the little magic beam guys. They literally are just a little hat on an orb. Like, what gender, dude? What gender those things have? Kirby is so full of gender, and like the magic boys are my favorite for that. Like, they are just angry eyebrow, like I love them, dude. And so I was like, all right, I'm combining the cat and the magic boys for Holly because I couldn't choose. I was like, I like both of them, and the cat was a little too plain. It was like, boom, boom, boom. I drew it in like literally 2 seconds, and I was like, oh, well, that was too easy. Let me spice this up a little bit. So yeah, I really love stars. I put stars all over freaking everything in Holly's era, so this worked out well. But then I wanted the little magic hat to have a little holly berry at the end. Like, how freaking perfect is that, dude? Instead of like one of the little magic orbs, it's literally just little hollies. Like, stop, dude. Obviously, this was going to be super pink to match the little cat enemy I was referencing. And the orb underneath I saw in the reference was kind of yellow and pink, but we already had so much pink going on. I was like, you know what? Let's go all green so it matches the hollyberry a little bit, and maybe add a little bit of blue too for that like magical, mystical kind of look here. And in the end, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try something a little different. I'm trying to color the line art and see if that helps with this like really funky, weird shading and lighting problem I was having, because I was like, I just don't want to do the whole outline thing with like the overlay. I just don't know if that's like working throughout everything I had drawn so far. So this time I went in with like a little bit of airbrush and tried to give a little bit of dimension that way, and honestly I think this worked a little bit better. I was at this point, I think I was learning. I was like, okay, I like this a lot more. I think this looks a lot more natural. It fits my art style a little bit better. I like it a lot more than anything else I had drawn previously. And it was just so simplistic, as Holly era designs typically go in this series. This is my magical cat, Holly, from Kirby 64. Isn't it so cute? I think it turned out perfect. I absolutely love how I got the pattern to just match with everything, colors to work together despite them being kind of funky to begin with. And I do think this is one of the strongest ones out of the entire batch, honestly. Aside from the goat, which we'll get to. We'll get to. Don't worry, don't worry. Oh, Robin era. What? What? Why does Robin era always do so good? I don't know. Oh, sorry, Holly. Sorry, yeah. No, Holly, you're great too. Don't worry, don't worry. You're great, you're great. Did I say Robin era was the goat? Sorry, no. That was a, IRL typo. I meant Haley, because I kind of popped off with this one, I'm not gonna lie. I think the sketch was just precious to be good with, and then I was like, okay, well, now it's just gonna be the best, and everybody else is gonna be jealous. But you know what? That's okay, because I had to pick my absolute favorite Kirby game of all time, Kirby's Return to Dreamland for the Wii. Not the crappy remake they made. I don't know what they did to the graphics of that one. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about the Switch version. No. We're talking about the GOAT. All right, we're talking about the OG Kirby Return to Dreamland, because that's when my boy Magdalor is there and giving me gender envy for the first time in my entire life as a young child. Anybody who is like trans mask or like trans NB, you've gotta tell me, like, you look at Magdalor and you tell me if that's not peak gender. Just an orb with eyes and cat ears and big ass gloves. Are you joking? That is fucking gender. That is gender. Definition, look it up on the dictionary.com and you're gonna see a picture of this boy. Anyways. So yeah, I had to use Magdalor because I'm obsessed. But also, I really love the little spike ball guys. I think they're underrated. Like, everyone hates them and they're mostly just used as like barricades and stuff, but I'm like, look at those big baby eyes. I love them. They're so dinky and cute. And I thought that would work really well for Haley, because Haley's a dinosaur and maybe I could get away with the spikes being like her little dinosaur spikes. The concept was peak. It was just an orb with spikes with big giant eyes, a blep, because I had to include Gooey, dude. Gooey was my goat. Gooey was my go-to and Star Allies. You could ask my brother. He absolutely hated that. He was like, why are you always choosing Gooey? And I'm like, because Gooey's the best, bro. Like, I only chose Magdalor or Gooey because I know gender, alright? Look at that goofy guy. So I included basically every little bit of the references I had for Haley, because I was like, I love all of them so dearly. And the colors for a minute got a little funky wonky, because I was like, oh, I want it to be like a spike ball on the inside, but that wasn't not working with the color palette I have for Haley, which is like dark blue, orange, yellow, and turquoise. And I was like, okay, this is not working, because the orange is looking really ugly as like the cape thing. So when I inverted it, oh, that's when things started to become beautiful. I was like, oh, now we're talking, now we're talking. And I found the artwork for the little spike guy to be so intriguing. I think it was from like a DS game or something, or maybe even one of the very old games, like 64, off of like a magazine or something, but it just had this really interesting grainy texture to it, and I was like, man, I want to replicate that. So I went crazy trying to shade and light this in a way that would kind of mimic that, and I found a very nice little overlay kind of filter to put on top of it to give it that grainier look. And I really wanted those spikes to stick out. I was like, the spikes need to look good, man. Like, those are Haley's dinosaur spikes. And that's kind of the only indicator we have that this is Haley, right? Because she's a little orange dinosaur in there. So once I got all of that perfected, and honestly it did not take long, because by this point I think I was getting it. It was just mostly a lot of airbrushing, highlighting the very weird, probably not correct areas. Is how I learned Kirby's art style works. Once I pop that filter on, boom, Haley era in Kirby. Return to Dreamland. Look at how beautiful! It is everything I want to be in life, dude. I want to be a dinosaur. I want to be a spike ball. I want to be a genderless orb with glowing eyes under a cloak. God, dude, this is everything to me. This is peak gender. I just want to be a little guy. I just want to be a little goober. You feel me? Oh my god. Okay, yes. Okay. I'm done. I'm done gushing. Good job, B. Good job, Haley era. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. And just when I thought the peak could not get better and the gender envy could not get worse, guess what? I went off on Robin era, as I tend to do. By the end of the video, I swear to God, something just like clicks on in my brain, or my brain comes back from lunch or something. I don't know where my brain goes, but it locks the hell in for Robin era. And like, you know this. If you've watched every video of this series, you understand that by the time we get here, you know this is gonna drop and it's gonna be the best one at all of them. And I don't know why that keeps happening. Like, maybe it's just I finally learned the art style. I don't know what it is. Or maybe I just really am in tune with who I am right now, which is what I'd like to believe, honestly. I'd like to think that I'm really coming into myself and understanding who I am, and like my identity is becoming a lot more solid than when I first started Persona Project, which was the whole point of Persona Project, so that means it's doing what it's intended to do. But I knew I love those little potato guys that like sweep the floor. They're so freaking cute. Some of them have witch hats in the older games, but in the newer games, they have this adorable little like handkerchief over their head, and they're just so cute. They have little aprons. Like, stop, dude. I've always thought they were great, especially the ones with the witch hat because they have a broom. Stop. That's so adorable. But I couldn't also give up the idea that the little ninja cats are also such a fun enemy. They like shove everything in their little bag and like run off, and like, oh, I just love that so much. I love the cat idea of it all, but like also, I mean, this is a big era for me that I moved and like had some gigantic life changes and things, so having like the sad ant knapsack thing was so funny, and I was like, I gotta do it. So I combined those two enemies for Robin era, and strangely enough, I think I want to kind of reference more of the Forgotten Land game of Kirby, and that was like one of the most recent ones. I think Forgotten Land was genuinely really good. It was challenging at parts. I remember my brother and I getting stuck and being like, wow, it's been so long since a game has challenged me in such a way, because a lot of the games lately have been really, really easy unless you're in the indie game space. In that case, you know. If you know, you know. Indie games got hands. But like, most of like the commercialized like big games and everything are so oversimplified and easy because they're made for all, you know, audiences and age ranges. And with Forgotten Land, I feel like there was at least some challenging aspects despite all of that, and I really liked that. I mean, I grew up playing the most frustrating goddamn games on earth. I'm looking at you, Mario. Like, dang, it's kind of refreshing that now it's not just like I could just passively play and not even have to think about it. Like, this game made me think, and I liked that. And oh, don't even get me started. If you haven't played it, you just gotta play it for like the end sequence. That final fight had me in chills. I had voiceover and stuff. I was like, this is crazy, bro. Like, it was neat. I just thought it was very cinematic, and the art style was really interesting, and the concepts that they used, the mechanics were really interesting. Like, I think it's underrated. I think people give it a lot of hell for no reason. All of that aside, this was a very simple piece for Robin because it was just a little guy on a broomstick, and I decided to give myself like a little cloak, much like the little ninja cat and the little knapsack, of course. because we running away from our past. Let's go. We are done with that. We are flying to better lands here, and I love that so much. And like, oh, just every time Robin's color palette is so peak. Adding the yellow in this time really made me realize how good yellow fits in with Robin. Like, holy cow, this is so cute and Halloween core. I'm super autumn and Halloween core in this era, honestly. And it's just perfect. I got to add Robin's little hair, little doinker, and just, oh, I think it turned out so cute. And the little polka dots, honestly, let's go. Like, freckles on everything, it just enhances everything. And this is proof. This is living proof. Look at this. Look at Robin in Kirby Forgotten Land. Look at how peak and beautiful this is. Oh my god, I think I finally got the art style down, guys. I think by the end of it I learned a lot, and I think this turned out absolutely peak. Well, half this video was a flop to me, but I still hope you enjoyed seeing all of my eras as Kirby characters nonetheless, and enjoyed listening to the process, and maybe learned a thing or two as well along the way. I know I did. For the next video, this has been a highly requested media throughout many of my comment sections in this series, and yes, I'm finally going to tackle it, you guys. I think this counts as nostalgic media, considering it was Parker Era's main fixation. I'm gonna tackle Undertale. I want to do Undertale sprites so badly for all of the eras, and it is one of my all-time favorite games. I'm currently obsessed with Deltarune, so I think this will be our topic for the next video. I hope to see you there. Until next time, thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye!